Hey everyone, Coach Lori here with another episode of Conversations with Courageous Cancer Warriors. And today we have a really cool guest. So Steph Shinabery is actually someone who supports coaches, consultants, and experts in designing their cornerstone frameworks and create signature offers that help them enroll their clients, their dream clients. And she's really passionate about helping others find their purpose, and especially driven entrepreneurs and how they can flourish online. But before all of that has happened, she's also gone through some health challenges. And she's going to talk to us today about how she was able to keep a positive mindset throughout her journey. Steph, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, awesome. Lori, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to meet you. And these are all things that I love talking about. So yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for being here. So we, for those of you listening, we connected through our new book that's about to come out, The Women Who Boss Up, Health, Lifestyle, and Wellness Edition. And we're really excited about the premise of this book, what this book means for people, and really the content that's in this book. Every one of us who's in this book has overcome some adversity, and we've done it powerfully. So Steph, talk to me about what you've gone through.
Yeah, so this is cool. So the positive mindset is going to tie into this, I promise. So first of all, I am so grateful to be in that book because I really did get to tell my story a little bit. And I love telling my story because I'm sure, as you do, Lori, you always feel like if there's just one person that can hear it and help them overcome, then it's been worth whatever.
Absolutely.
So for a long time, because I'm a nurse anesthesiologist, so my story that I'm going to talk about is overcoming addiction. And in my realm, in the medical world, it's like not something that I really like to talk about. You know, I have done these interviews on YouTube, but it's not something that I openly talk about at work. And it's because I still feel like the medical community lags behind on acceptance of alcohol and drug addiction, and not all of those circles, but a lot of people still have a lot of prejudices about them. And so I really believe this is a genetic thing, and I struggled with it early in college. Didn't really realize that it was a problem, and I would have these. First of all, I have like this zeal for life. Always have. I have curiosity. I'm passionate about so many things, and so even though I was going through these bouts of these periods where I would have a hard time putting a drink down, I would stop because it was interfering with things like basketball or things that I love doing. And so I was able to like stop, you know.
Yeah.
And it became a point in my late 20s and 30s where I had like crossed a line where like I couldn't stop. And like every day I would get up and it would just be like, I'm not gonna drink today. And before I knew it, I was walking to the refrigerator before noon to pick up a beer, or going to the liquor store or whatever. And this became my existence really. And so it was a compulsion to drink, an obsession of the mind, a compulsion to drink that I could not stop. And I couldn't figure it out. Like I had so much willpower to do like so many amazing things. I was successful in my career. I was a crazy endurance athlete, all these things, and just could not do it. And it just kept taking me further down. And like I just kept crossing lines of things that I would say I would never do. And finally it got to a point where I'm like, okay, I need help with this. Yeah. And so I did. I went into rehab. I got some help, and I stayed sober for a long time. And then I quit doing the things. It's like recovery is like a maintenance of any health condition. And so once, like a lot of people will stop taking their blood pressure medicine after they start feeling better and things are great. And they're like, well, I must not need this anymore. And then things get out of control again. And so that's what happened with me. My life was great. I was enjoying life, and I stopped doing all those things. And then had a relapse, and then it really was a long time, like 5 years of relapse and another 9 years of trying to get sober. And so it's really been a battle. And it came to a point where I just got tired of being sick and tired, and like knew that like if I didn't do something like I was going to lose everything, and I was very likely going to lose my life or harm somebody else, you know. So it's even hard for me, like those thoughts are like right now just bring up so much emotion, because it's like so hard to like admit that. Sorry.
Yeah. But like, you're so powerful, and I hope you see it, because, you know, facing your mortality, which is what you did ultimately, right? And that's what we talk a lot about here, because that's what cancer does for you. And it's a quick, like, if I don't change what I'm doing, my behavior, like, I'm not going to make it.
Right.
And you've gone through that, yet you're still able to be this successful nurse anesthesiologist, which is like no joke, right? Like, having the education that's required, the brain power that's required, the responsibility that you had, but also like the overall knowing that you have someone else's life in your hands is a huge amount of pressure.
It is. It can be very stressful, but it's very rewarding as well. And I think that's I think, you know, once you are able to step away, and because when you're living in addiction, you're not yourself. I mean, you're not living your fullest expression of yourself. You're numbing everything out. Yeah. And when you're able to get over that and find out like who you really are again, like bring the life back out, I think that's when, so it's been 3.5 years, and I have just had this zeal for like life and like, you know, helping as many people as I can. And really, you know, I think a lot of my, I think not living your purpose is maybe not the cause of maybe it is, I don't know, but I'm not blaming that on my drinking, but what I know is I think it kept me from maybe getting help sooner, because I just kept pouring it on there. Like, not letting your light shine is not healthy for you. And so really helping people like find out what it is that they really want in life, and helping them to do that, and just the belief and the hope that they can, is like my mission and purpose. And so yeah, it's a wonderful why, a wonderful you know, way to propel yourself forward.
Well, we're definitely in alignment for that. And I, you know, you're speaking to my heart right now when you say that. I you know, but I'm still so, one, I'm just proud of you, right? Like, because, you know, I haven't been in your shoes, but I can only imagine what it's like to struggle. And for me, is that, like, my struggle is the little voice in the back of my head after I get any ache or pain, like, okay, is my cancer back? But for you, it's a similar struggle of like, you know, addiction is just like that. It's always with you. So on your difficult days, like, how do you stay focused, and how do you stay away from?
Yeah, this is a great question, and really one for the time. I mean, because honestly, you know, I have been going to meetings and stuff, because that's always a reminder to listen to someone else's story, that it's always there. It never leaves you. And really, it's dangerous when you forget about it. And so that's what happened to me the first time when I went back out. And so to set my intention every day, that is a reminder at the beginning of the day that I am an alcoholic, that I'll always be an alcoholic. And then it really only takes one slip up to take you back to hell, like literally. Yeah. And so, you know, I think it's really a spiritual, the key is a spiritual solution. And that means so many things to so many different people. And it's basically making sure, like, getting in touch with, am I okay inside right now? Is something off? Do I need to do something to correct my course? Like, really being centered. Have I wronged somebody? So really just keeping my side of the street clean, because what happens is when I get into something where things aren't right, then like I might start obsessing about it, or what did I do? And it's just, if I can just bring myself back to, you know, first of all, so much gratitude to be alive today and to have a clear mind, and to be able to have the opportunity to help people
Yeah.
on an ongoing basis. And I can't express the gratitude. Like I have so much gratitude for life now than I probably ever would have if I wouldn't have gone through this. And I bet you could probably relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, just really taking some space. And it's, you know, I think I have an addictive personality. Like I pour myself into biking, I pour myself into everything. And so really I have to keep those things in check, because I can like go so hard at something that I forget to take care of myself.
Yeah. Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah. So so just really take a lot of self-care, a lot of remembering that, because they're like there's always the voice there that's like, oh, you could have one. It could be different this time. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, you know, it's like this little thing that just tells you all the time, not all the time. I don't hardly ever think about it anymore, but it's like sometimes I'll even like see a new beer commercial. I'm like, oh my God, that would be so good. I never, you know, those kind of like thoughts.
Yeah.
But
And I'm like that with sugar.
oh
right?
yeah, I can relate. Sugar's the same way. If I don't consume sugar, I'm fine. Once I do, it's like this addiction starts. And I think, you know, it's really a similar deal, except for sugar kills you slower usually than alcohol.
Sugar gave you cancer, right? Like that's definitely 100%.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be one of those people that I stress eat. I know that's what I do. I lose all control over what I actually intake. And when I was at the peak of my stress, working in the medical field, like you know so well, I would literally find myself like eating chocolate, eating candy at like 7:00 in the morning before, you know, as my shift got started and I saw what kind of a day I was about to have. I was like, I couldn't get enough, right?
Wow.
Sugar in my coffee, like and I saw that. And it's one of those things that now when I have it, first of all, I'm so amazed by how much sugar is added to foods. Like that's why we talk about like, be careful of, you know, light foods and the kind of foods that you're ingesting that are packaged, because it's just like salt. It's an additive to make it taste better.
Right.
But now I'm aware where I will taste something and I'll be like, oh my God, there's so much sugar in that. Right. And it's like, I'm sure it's the same for you where, you know, like you said, you see that beer commercial and you're like, I really, really want that.
Yeah.
But what I love most about your story is that you stand powerfully, and I don't hear any negativity or make wrong for you saying to yourself and admitting to yourself, like, hey, I'm an alcoholic. Like, I'm sure that wasn't easy for you to get there. So what was that process like?
So, I mean, owning responsibility for so here's the way. So it's not my fault that I'm an alcoholic. Okay. It's not that. I do believe that there is a genetic component, and this is the way my body reacts. I have a history of it in my family. And I think that, but once you know that you are, once I am fully aware of that, it's my responsibility to take care of it. And it's my responsibility to, you know, one of the things is like, I have made amends for all the things that I've done. And so I don't dwell on that part of, because I was sick. And so I don't dwell on, I could have done this better. I could have been, you know, I could have been a better mom. I could have been a better partner. I could have been a better worker. I could have been, you know, all these things that you could wish and have regrets over. But it's like, this is in the past. And today is what I have. And today I choose to be happy, and I choose to try to be a productive member of society and to be responsible and take care of myself. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. It's just like, you know, I take care of patients all the time that have diabetes and they are sick. They are taking medication, but they're not eating correctly. They're not taking care of their body. You could name any kind of disease. And I know you're fully aware of this yourself because you're in the medical field, but it's the same thing. And it's like, if you would just like, and it's like, you know, addiction is not just a chemical thing. We're addicted to our phones and our screens, but it's like the dopamine that's released for reward is like a real thing. So and that I could go down all those science rabbit holes, I know, but
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's just like mindset is like the key to everything. It is, you know, how we choose to show up. And once that I became aware that my thoughts and my actions like dictated my reality, it's like, oh, I've got to figure this out. It's like something I want to work on every day. And,
Right.
and so,
And that's key. Like we talk about it all the time, like language is reality. Your actions are your reality. Like it doesn't matter, what else is happening. But if you're standing in, if you're going down the negative route of like, I'm never going to be able to do that, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that, like that's what you're going to get.
that's
Right.
right.
So it's so important to be like, I will,
Right.
I am,
Right.
right. Those positive affirmations, like to be able to stand in the now, like you said, and to just get like, okay, like the struggle might happen. Like in 10 minutes from now, there might be a trigger, but
Mhm.
I know I am powerful enough to overcome it.
Right. Right. And
And,
it's breaking sometimes for alcoholics and addicts too. It's just like not like thinking I can't, or even sugar. Like it's not like I can't never eat sugar again. It's like, but I'm not going to eat it right now, like this
mhm,
hour, this minute. And then just kind of like, if you can get through that there's like a time period, like it's like 20 seconds or 30 seconds or something. If you can, because you have this craving. So when you have the craving, what it actually does is it triggers dopamine in your brain because
mhm.
you're anticipating the reward. So you get the trigger, which releases more chemicals. But if you can just wait it out just a little bit of time, you can get past that, and then it's like it's a reset.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It's like, and you have to take the actions to set yourself up powerfully, right?
yes,
Like for me, I know that if I have chocolate in the house, if I have anything sugary, that when I want a snack, it's where I'm going to go. So
right,
I've learned like to put fruit out on my counter. I've learned to like have stuff readily available that's healthier for me because it's the same, and I should not be having sugar feeds cancer cells. Like what am I thinking? But yet
yeah,
what I crave, it's what I want. Like I shouldn't be
right,
having alcohol either, right? It's the
right,
same thing, and we have to really be advocates for ourselves and our bodies. Like you said, like you're sick, and if you're not going to take care of yourself and you're not going to eat the right foods for yourself, then who's going to do it for you?
right.
Right?
No,
It's like my mom always says that to me. Like if you're not going to do it, who's going
yeah,
to do it for you?
that's right,
Right?
that's
And
right.
the woman's a genius, right? She's an
Yeah.
absolute genius.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
And I live by that. And every time, if I'm not going to stand up for myself,
Yeah,
then who's going to?
yeah, yeah,
And I love that.
yeah. I
I love
love that
that.
too. It's true. It's so true too.
And it's like you are an amazing example of what it means to love life, live life, and just really be somebody who is not willing to deal with any more crap.
That's right. I mean, it's like oh, there's some saying about I can't think of it right now, so I'm not even going to try. But it is. It's like once you've been through hell, it's
Yeah.
literally. I mean, it's like I don't want to go back there, and I think it's something like a lot of people are they live because they're afraid to going to hell, and people that have come through recovery, they're just trying not to go back. So
Right?
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. And it's so true. So for someone who's listening who might be in a similar predicament, who's struggling, what would be the one thing that you would tell them?
yeah. So this is a great question, and the thing is, it's something that you almost. I'm not saying it can never be done. There's of course there's always multiple ways to skin a cat.
Mhm.
There's multiple paths to recovery. Most of the time, it can't be done on your own, and it's
Mhm.
because it is so powerful. It's so like it's cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will trick you and you will think you have it, and like literally I would say every day that I was going to beat this thing, I was going to overcome it, and then days turned into months, turned into years, and I was still in the same place.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I actually spoke it out loud, spoke it to someone and asked for some help, and even then it was a struggle. It's not even easy. It's just not an easy thing. Some people find it easier to do it the first time and some people don't, and
Yeah.
there's no judgment on that. But I think getting help, first of all, the first step is admitting that you have a problem. You won't until you can be honest with yourself. It's really about being honest with yourself. Because I could tell people all the time I didn't have a problem, I had it under control, and really they knew I did. I was lying to myself. And until I can say, you know what, I can't beat this on my own. I've been trying, I've done everything. It's just like if you're trying to help somebody as a coach to do something that they've been trying to do on their own. They've probably already been trying to do it on their own. They've probably tried multiple things, and they have banging their head against the wall. They need some help over the bridge. And so, so that's really, I think the first thing is just to admit it, be willing to get help. There's no shame involved. It's really a thing that's hard to do on your own.
Yeah, I love that. And, we started this conversation with talking about the stigma of it all, right? So it's true if you have cancer, it's true if you have a mental health issue, it's true if you're an alcoholic, right? I think society is really tough on people. And I think it has a lot of people stay silent.
Yeah, I know I did for a long time.
Yeah. And when I was diagnosed, it took me over a year to talk about it with people because I just couldn't have those conversations. Right. So for those of people that are in those, that snenario, in those shoes, what words of advice would you give them?
Yeah, again, so there, all recovery places, whether, and I'm not going to get into naming different things because there's so many, but there is an anonymity so you can call some kind of hotline and ask for help, and someone will either come to your house or they'll talk you through it. There's all kinds of avenues, and you can say, hey, I'm phoning for a friend even, to find out information. Yeah. And most of the time what you're going to find out is that people, they don't care where you are. They don't, most of the time, even now, I'm still not really protective, but somewhat protective around people. And it's just, when people find out, they don't care. But typically people just don't care. A lot of it, is probably in my head, but, but so, yeah, I think just, there are ways to do it where you can totally keep it private. I mean, you can, people go to, Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or any of those, Overeat, all of those things, they're anonymous. You can go in those meetings and share and be open, and that all stays there. And so, I think that's the way to do it. And you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell anybody. Here's the thing. If you're really having a true problem, people probably know that something is not right. And usually we're the last people to know that either we have a problem or that we think people don't know that we either drink too much or drug too much or eat too much or whatever it is. Yeah. And so we're only harming ourselves. And it really, seriously, this is, if you're having an alcohol or a drug addiction, it's a life-threatening thing. It will, without like the textbook says, without treatment, you will most likely have an early death or death. Yeah. So it's not something to mess around with, for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like you nailed it when you said, like, people know, right? Yeah. I think in general, people know what's going on, and they're just either choosing to ignore it, not bring it up, or they have brought it up and felt like they got nowhere, they didn't get anywhere with you, or like they're afraid that they're going to upset you, or so, that's what I would say to anyone suffering with anything that we've talked about today, is like, just get that people are aware, and they're just waiting for you to show up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're waiting for you to be able to, whatever it is, be accepting of their support. Yeah. And you will see people be very, very generous.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But we need to get out of our own ways in order for that to happen.
That's exactly it. It's just like you said, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? I mean,
right.
You've got to be the one to take, once you are aware, then it's your responsibility. Yeah. It's our responsibility once we're aware. So, and
definitely, like, make sure that the people that you're talking to. So my whole thing was that I couldn't handle other people's emotions around what I was dealing with. Like, that was my thing. So I was it very quiet. I kept it like to a very close circle. And yet, you know, I would always kind of gauge, like, is this somebody that I should talk to about it? Should I not
Yeah.
talk to this person about it? And then sometimes it was out of necessity where I'm like, okay, I really need more support, that
Mhm.
I would disclose what I was going, you know, what I was going through with, you know, with specific people. And sometimes their reactions were kind of really crappy, right? They would say something really that they didn't mean, that was insensitive, unless you've been in the shoes, like you sometimes
Yeah.
don't know what to say. And people get so weird about this stuff.
Yeah.
If you do just, you know, if you do choose to entrust someone with what you're going through, just get that sometimes they just may not know what to say.
Right. Oh,
Right?
definitely.
It's
Definitely.
terrible.
Because I think you said it right there. Unless you've walked in someone else's shoes, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like I can only imagine what you've been through. I have no idea. And I wasn't, and so not presuming, because it's different. Like, even though I think we have a lot of, like, I think I can relate to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go what you went through. And so I think that's, and so I know people sometimes they're just trying, they don't, it's their own emotions. They don't know how to deal with it. And so they come across, insensitive or whatever. They don't know how to respond, and it makes them feel odd or whatever. Because
Mhm.
I know that I've had people like, they say something to you, and you're like, you just think this is so like, I didn't say anything. I'm just like, they have no idea. Like, they
Right.
had no idea. So
Right. And, you know, especially because it's something you can't physically see.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like, you look normal. When
Yeah,
somebody walks up to you, it's like there's not a disability that you can see. So
right.
it's kind of like, wait, what? What do you mean? Whereas, you know, not saying that anything else is any easier. That's not how I mean it. But,
Oh yeah, of course.
you
I
know,
know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, thank you for just being really open about this conversation, because I think it's so, so,
Welcome.
so important. But is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to for, you know, being your cheerleader?
Oh my gosh. There are so many amazing people in my
Mhm.
life. I have I have a friend that she's actually my sponsor. Her name's Brigid, and
Mm.
never gave up on me, and then I have an aunt. She's passed away since I got sober, and she was like a major like cheerleader. My grandfather, her father, was in recovery, and so she always knew, like, she understood the struggle. And then her brother also was, my dad was I don't think so many other people in my family really totally understand, what a struggle it is. But those, some of my aunt was a huge fan and just like a big supporter. Like, I leaned on her a lot. And then again, this lady that just like, I could like I couldn't believe how she stood by me and just said, "You're going to get it. You just keep trying, just keep coming back, just keep doing it." And I think I would hear that, keep coming back, keep getting back up and trying
Mhm.
again, in my head when I was out there struggling. And I really think that saved my life.
I love that. I love that. And thank you to the angels that are out there that supported you. And we
Absolutely.
all have them. There's, whether they're still with us or not. Like, I'm
Right.
pretty sure your aunt is looking down on you
Yep.
if you believe in that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
know I do. And just thank you for just being a really courageous soul.
Thank you. Thank you too. Oh,
Yeah.
this has been awesome.
Thank you. So, how can people find you?
Yes. So I have my website's actually under construction right now. So really, the best place to find me is on Facebook at Steph Shinabery with one R. And then I have a Facebook group that you can get to from my profile, but it's Purpose Driven Profits for coaches, consultants, and experts. And I would love to have you in there. And
Yes.
I would love to have you just come say hi on my profile and listen. If anyone is struggling and you don't, if you want to know, or if you want a friend to talk to about it, get in my messenger box. I'll be happy to talk to you
Oh,
as
I
well.
love that. Thank you for just being a amazing, powerful, beautiful
Thank
force in
you.
this world. Like, you know, the world needs you. The world
Thank
needs to
you.
hear your
Thank you
message.
so much.
So I know that through this podcast today, you have definitely helped at least one person. I can guarantee it. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us
Of
today.
course. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me. Loved
Of
it.
course. Thank you. And you're welcome back anytime.
Oh,
Really,
thank you.
honestly, come back.
This has been fun. I would love to.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you again.
Thank you.